Good evening, Cody. Well, it's kind of a long story, and furthermore, it begins at a very young age. I would have had 8 or 9 years of age when I discovered archaeology. I was very little. I told you, on my mother's side, it's a very big family, and all of the grandchildren. um, would gather together for Christmas in my grandmother's house, and she lived in Maracavalle. All the grandchildren were in charge of going and bringing branches and plants for the nativity scene because my grandparents had a huge nativity scene. So when I had 8 or 9 years of age, my cousins took me to go bring these plants and branches to a place called the Salineras. This is close to the first bus stop in San Sebastian. And when we began to cross the river, the river named Cachimayo, I saw a ton of Spanish roofing tiles. They were painted and broken. So I told my cousins, I'll wait here to look at these. And I was attracted to these painted ceramic pieces because my father was an architect. And more than an architect, he was a painter. So in the house, I was exposed to this world of art. So these painted pieces called my attention. So my cousins went and came back with all of their branches and plants. And meanwhile, I um, put the maximum amount of ceramics into my backpack. So we went to my grandparents, we fixed the nativity scene, and then went to my house, and I showed my father these broken roofing tiles. And he told me these were not roofing tiles, these were Inca ceramics that were more than 500 years of antiquity. So my first contact with archaeology was like this. The next day, my father told me, you know what? I know an archaeologist that could teach you more about this. So he took me to the house of Dr. Manuel Chavez Bayon. And in this moment, I began to be fascinated because he taught me types of ceramics, how to register them, how to draw them, chronology. So my exposure to archaeology was at a very young age. And in high school, my father was an archaeologist, and architect. So he wanted me to be an architect, and he taught me how to draw plans and all the work of an architect. But on the other side, he would give me books as gifts about archaeology. One of the first was by Dr. Kaufman Doy. And so I had 13 or 14 years of age, and I began to collect more and more books about archaeology. So he also was preparing me to become an archaeologist. And during high school, we moved to Arequipa, and there was no opportunity to study archaeology there. And so I studied graphic design for 2 years. But later, all of the family moved back to Cusco, where I was able to begin studying archaeology officially and involve myself in my great passion of archaeology, which began at a very young age.